Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Feminine Legacy Podcast. This is your host, Jackie Ma, and today I'm excited to bring on a dear sister, Olya Shekinah, who is a feminine embodiment mentor, a tantrika, and many other things. So today we're just going to come on and share our heart's wisdom, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's such a great pleasure to co-create with you again and be in this delicious feminine embodiment womb magic portal and share all of this with whoever feels aligned to receive this medicine today. So deeply honored and so excited. Don't know what's gonna come through, so I'm so excited.
Exactly. That's the mystery, right?
Yes.
So tell me something. Let's begin by right now you're in Mexico.
I'm in Mexico. I'm in Tulum, which is a magic portal anchored in water medicine, very feminine, very flowy, very vibrant, delicious, liquid kind of frequency in the jungle. So I'm living the
I'm there myself.
beautiful turquoise jungle life,
Yeah,
which I enjoy a lot.
very, very beautiful. And now, are you originally from New York?
I lived in New York for 12 years, but originally I'm from Russia.
Okay.
So I moved when I was 20, and then I was in New York, moved to LA, and now I'm in Mexico. So
Mm.
just slowly running away from winter.
That's not a bad idea.
I know, right?
Very, very smart. All right, awesome. Yeah, well, I actually don't know your story, so I'd love to hear a little
Yeah.
as to how,
Yes.
how we come to the work is it's such an incredible journey. So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
how she called you,
How she
what was the
called me.
calling? Yeah.
I love it. And thank you so much for asking because I've been asked a lot lately. And I feel like there is so much medicine and potency in sharing our human story
Mhm.
that inspires and allows other people to see what's possible, how it's possible, where to stop, where to move forward, how to move in this mystical, right? When you said mystical journey, because it's not linear. And just hearing so many beautiful stories of women remembering their power and their divinity, it's such a beautiful transmission for all of us. So again, trusting that everyone who is receiving this story is getting medicine and guidance and hints and inspirations from the story. And then if you have any specific questions, you can also pause and ask me. So like I said, came to America 18 years ago, international business student, did not speak English, did not have any papers, so when they set us up with international exchange, it's the lowest paying jobs they can offer. So I had shifts in McDonald's at $6.50 an hour. I was selling lemonade at a stand, and I was working at the restaurant. I had 3 jobs.
And how
I
old
only
were you
had,
then?
I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah. I only had Tuesday morning off, and I would start 3 p.m. shift at the lemonade stand. So working 7 days a week, not knowing the language, not having any papers, and actually like being in survival, just the fear and anxiousness and lack of safety and stability
Mhm.
in America, especially where everyone is running, everyone is accomplishing. There's so much competition. There is so much desire to get the jobs and to make it in the world. So not an easy one to run, not an easy treadmill. Um, so fear of survival, could not pay my rent. So we had landlord coming in and we would run out because he thought it's like 4 people living in the room, but it was actually 6.
Yeah.
So we would run out and hide. And then when he would drive out, we would come back and sleep in the place. That's the reality. So that's kind of like what I came into. And the only desire that I had at that moment was safety, especially as a woman, especially as somebody who doesn't have rights in the country. I was like, safety, 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 safety. So chose the safest path of all, accounting and finance. I'm like, I need money. Let me go do money. Right? So went to public school in New York, Baruch, you might know about it, within the CUNY system. Got my degree, got my CPA license, started career in corporate America, moved to LA, started slowly seeing the beauty and the magic of more vibrant living. So my reality already started shifting. So instead of working 12 months, I started working 5 months,
Nice.
making same 6 figures and traveling for the rest of the year. So I was international. So I was a consultant for Pricewaterhouse and Ernst & Young, which are the hugest corporate organizations. And I was getting paid twice as everyone in the room because I was an external consultant.
Okay.
So I was not in-house at that point. So yeah, so that was my life. Brand new Mercedes-Benz from the dealership of Beverly Hills, oceanfront living, 6 figures in under 5 months, traveling all over the globe. So in 10 years, from 650 running away from landlord into brand new Mercedes-Benz, driving in Beverly Hills and enjoying my LA life.
Yeah.
So that was my transition. So for me, it was important to exit lack and fear of death, fear of survival, to be able to even sit with questions that are deeper conversations about what I came here to do. Why am I feeling so empty? Why, when I'm driving this car, I'm crying? Why I'm living with the ocean front and I feel like I'm dying every single day? So that conversation started coming so loud, and there was a moment I couldn't hold it. I was working for Pricewaterhouse, and I was like, I just gotta go. And I went to India, kind of like Eat, Pray, Love. Sounds like Eat, Pray, Love kind of way, but it was not, because I was deeply rooted in Buddhist practice. I was living in Buddhist monasteries when I was in New York. I was studying with Dalai Lama, Karmapa, Lama Karma, Lama Yeshe. I was very deeply anchored in mindfulness. And then I started doing the embodiment, ecstatic dance, and then Tantra started calling me as the deepening of my embodiment practice. So yeah, went to India, and I was assisting at the Tantra retreat and started deepening my journey in Tantra, sacred sexuality, divine feminine Tantra, feminine embodiment. And that portal started opening and blooming and glowing in front of me. And slowly, I would say from the moment where I was like, what the hell? What's wrong with me? Something is missing. I'm in pain every single day, even though I'm living the dream, American dream, finally made it, immigrant's dream, right? Yeah, and then it took me 4 years to fully transition into now living in Mexico, replaced all of my finance income with coaching income, serve only divine feminine clients, serve only women who work at the global level with global influence, and only work with people that I really deeply adore and love and admire, you know? So there's so much deliciousness and ecstasy in my business. But yeah, that's the journey.
I love it. I think it's important to highlight and speak in for a minute for both of us around the fallacy of the American dream
Yeah,
and how
yes, yeah.
harmful it is, how it has been such a perversion for so many of us to try to achieve this thing that takes us further and further away from the truth of who we are. And
Yes, yeah.
it's incredible, the distortion that we have been sold in this country.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's incredible. And also, it almost feels like unless you taste the rainbow and know that
yeah,
that doesn't feel good, it almost feels like you want to, you need to. There is that desire, right, to make it. And once you hit it, and then you're like, okay, not happy,
yeah,
not fulfilled, not vibrating from my heart and from my womb.
yeah,
Maybe smart here,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Maybe you can multitask
Yeah.
sometimes.
It's so funny that you mentioned that word because I was just looking at multitasking yesterday and how ridiculous that is. Like presence, we know, is the key to everything,
Yeah,
right? Like if I'm
yeah,
checking my phone and I'm talking to you, I'm really not present with you,
yes,
right?
exactly.
So it's like every time we like look at our resumes and we used to add that on, and it's like as though that was a gift, and it's like that's not a gift, that's a crime.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly. Yeah.
funny.
And also like I want to anchor here, let's say shifting from American dream, shifting from corporate into the divine feminine realm, however it looks like. I have clients who are drafting children's books, right?
Mhm,
Divine feminine doesn't mean I'm sitting in my womb practice all the time. I
mhm,
have clients running non-for-profits in Africa. I have clients running non-for-profits in Kenya. I have clients in corporate global peace mission, yeah, corporate initiatives, right?
mhm,
So it's kind of like we are birthing the new earth, right, with divine mother in union with divine mother. And then she can take many, 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 many different forms.
mhm,
We are re-alchemizing how we are raising our kids. We are re-alchemizing how we relate to our body as a sacred healing technology. We are re-alchemizing how we live in the community. We are re-alchemizing the financial structure right now. So it's kind of like I want to open the portal for thinking about the divine mother and the divine feminine as a lot of different things that can look like
mhm,
embodying and just having this freedom of dancing the dance and feeling into like what lights you up the most.
mhm. It really
Hmm.
comes down to releasing the conditioning and choosing a new dream,
Yes, yes,
cultivating that
exactly.
dream with the
Yeah,
divine, not from our
yeah.
minds, but from our bodies, from our hearts.
Yes. And I think like the point that I also want to make, it's like the shift from, let's say, linear masculine way of accomplishing, achieving, conquering, and all of those structures that we were conditioned into
Mhm,
in feminine and in masculine bodies. I
mhm,
want to make sure we are clear here. Um, so the set of laws is different.
mhm,
It's not just that I'm here doing something, corporate, and here I'm doing something feminine. It's kind of like the whole set of laws of those universes is different.
mhm.
Receiving here is the huge portal. There is no way receiving exists here. It's like if you're not accomplishing, jumping and running and conquering, you're not producing, right? It's like receiving, intuition, right? Taking decisions with in alignment with the divine guidance,
Mhm,
right? How I make decisions in my business. High spirit, there is this desire, reveal, reveal the path, reveal the guidance, reveal where
mhm,
should I start focusing and looking instead of let me sit down and do this analytical process, blah blah blah. So it's kind of like it's hard to explain for people who haven't been in both worlds, but it might feel like you're crazy at times when you're here. So if you feel like you're crazy, you're in the right place. That's what I can tell you.
Agreed. We have to undo everything that we learned so that we
Yes,
can
yes,
create an
yeah,
entire new landscape.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
It's exciting, it's scary, and it's
mhm,
beautiful. It's
yeah,
so rich.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So just kind of like closing the circle here for everyone, and I feel like I attract naturally a lot of people who are shifting and stepping into abundant, beautiful, delicious, luscious life in the feminine. Just be patient with yourself and trust your body, trust your womb, trust the divine guidance. Also, one more piece I want to give here, you can self-initiate yourself into the divine feminine.
Mhm.
So the hierarchy, the masculine, right? We are talking about, accountant, senior accountant, supervisor, manager. No, you have full access to the divine at all times. Period.
Absolutely.
Period. You don't need to go through this hierarchy, bureaucracy, pyramid structure to actually have the direct access to divine intelligence and source consciousness.
Mhm.
And however you choose to work with it, I self-initiated myself. However you choose to initiate yourself or work with this energy, you can work with source, you can work with God, you can work with divine, whatever feels aligned for your mother.
Mhm.
And you can also work with different extensions of that consciousness. I work a lot with Isis codes and Magdalene codes, and I just came back from Egypt I work with Kali now. 14 years ago, when I sat with Dalai Lama, I was working with Green Tara a lot. So you can work with all of the ascended masters directly, all of them, and source consciousness directly. Hey, please come and guide and lead me. And that's it.
Yeah. I agree with
Yes.
you. Same for me. I was self-initiated, and well, I still don't, I wouldn't know that it's self-initiated, only it's us walking our path and we are being
Yeah.
created with the divine. So that's a very beautiful path for women because it's not contingent upon anything else but our own power within and the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
At this
Mm-hmm.
point, though, having transversed so much multi-dimensional reality, I do, as I'm sure you agree too, because you're a guide,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
can see the benefit of the self-initiate and also having somebody
Mm-hmm.
who has walked the terrain, somebody
Mm-hmm.
who shows up as a mentor or a
Mm-hmm.
guide
Mm-hmm.
to access your own inner guru, your own inner teacher,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Because without guidance, I have to say the divine feminine path can become a shit show of mess and
Yes. Yes.
chaotic confusion when we don't bring in some of the human components that we need to support
Mm-hmm.
the infrastructure of all of that juicy. Because otherwise, it can become such an
Yes.
erratic juicy, and we never leave the house.
I know. Yeah. So
Right?
for yeah, like the way I see it, it's kind of like the frequency lens, right? The transmission lens from the ascendant master, from source consciousness, from the goddess, whoever you are
Yeah,
studying with, and then how you let it unfold in the physical space and time reality, and how to hold all freaking out parts of yourself while you're stepping into
yeah,
this new portal. That's where you need guidance,
yeah.
right? Like even understanding how to hold yourself in your fear, but still choosing and acting from the vision,
Exactly.
right? Like that needs a container,
Mhm.
because you get it, but then once your nervous system is alarms are on,
Totally.
you can't find that crystalline golden grid sometimes.
Exactly, exactly. And we know it's so complex because there's so many nuances and facets of our being that arrive,
Mhm.
right? The inner children, the inner priestesses, like all the full spectrum of duality and magic. And it's like, what is true and what is not true?
Yes,
And
yeah.
so it's really beautiful to have somebody who has transversed some of the terrain.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I also love it makes me when I look at you and came from this corporate background, what that shows me is like infrastructures that were built, right? I come
Hmm.
from corporate too. So like these like rigid infrastructures, but they were also great, great lessons for us around like, oh, these
Yeah.
are how structures work. These are not the
Yes.
structures I want, right? For me in
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
own world, but I get to see how structures energetically operate, like how this was architected, and now I will be able to like drop in and architect my own feminine
Yes.
infrastructures in
Yes.
alignment with the masculine, because you're a
Yes.
tantrika, like that
Yes.
divine feminine and masculine balance.
Yeah.
Dope. I mean, like it's really beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love when you are anchoring the, infrastructures in corporate. It's important to know what is not feeling in alignment, but it's also important to see that every step of your path was for you.
Yeah.
So 10 years in corporate specifically, like the only reason my business is running so well right now, it's like everything is automated, I have my assistant taking care, is because I learned the discipline, I learned how to show up, I learned how to be in that kind of crystallized numerical world as well. So it's definitely like looking at it as something that supports you and
Mhm.
holds you. And now we're talking in the masculine and feminine, right? Energetics, and allowing that dance to dance,
Mhm.
right? Allowing the shift, allowing the flow, and allowing the alchemy, right? Because I tend to support and mentor a lot of coaches. We do get lost in the feminine, in the clouds sometimes.
Yeah, it can be really intense.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and there's so many distortions, and the truth is so many of the distortions are coming from us, right? From parts that need to be healed or transformed. They're
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, but it's like everything that comes is not the Immaculate Heart of Mary, let's be clear.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like everything that wants to be like, alchemized in this luscious pot, and like freaking like
Mm-hmm.
releasing all the distortions and creating so much magic and
Mm-hmm.
beauty
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
and it's layers, right? It's peeling off that layer, those layers, conditioning, programming, not believing in yourself, being in constant pressure to perform on some metrics that doesn't
yeah,
even fulfill you at the end of the day.
for sure.
So,
Mm,
and yeah, like in terms of the healing process and having somebody who can hold you in this journey, usually I attract, and I feel like we're in the same field, a lot of magicians that are already like high potency and high frequency. So we already know our creative power, so we don't get lost in the money conversation and scarcity that much. So for us at this level of creation, time is the most valuable resource.
mhm.
So like being held in a way that saves you time in a way of like, okay, let me go through all of this initiation. I know somebody's holding my back. I know I can learn all of it on my own,
Mhm.
all of it. And I'm choosing to be held, and I'm choosing to be loved, and I'm choosing to be guided, right? So I save time
Yeah.
because that's my conversation right now.
Mhm. Which is
Mm-hmm.
so powerful because it requires so much trust,
Yeah.
right? Because this is like it's going down to the roots. It's the tenderness of everything that we didn't even like, that wasn't expressed growing up a lot of the times, right? It's like a
Mm-hmm.
whole new terrain of, wow, I didn't even realize that so much of this existed in my psyche, right? Like what I was holding,
Yeah.
what I'm capable of holding. So yeah, it's such an honor, and it's so beautiful when
Yes.
like to come into that sense of respect and love and care with somebody who can see
Mm-hmm.
you and walk with you in such a powerful way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. And when you create from your highest alignment with your dharma, with your highest path, with your vision, it's more about, okay, what do I need to actually be held and supported in that container,
Mhm.
right? It's not just I want this amount of money, or I want this kind of relationship, or I want this kind of physical health. And I'm like, what kind of team do I need around myself, right? Who's gonna hold me, who's gonna guide me, who's gonna lift me up, who's gonna channel the divine guidance for me where I can't see my own path. Sometimes we
Exactly.
are so blurred, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's going to take
Yes.
care and get me to the destination, dharma in hand, heart open?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah. And it's kind of like we are touching the wealth conversation, and I have a lot of passion. And coming from finance, I know both worlds very well, traditional finance and the quantum wealth as well. We are coming into next level of wealth, especially as divine feminine guides and priestesses and mentors and women who feel called to that medicine,
Mhm,
because we need wealth to transform the world,
mhm,
right? Like you remember my story, only when I had enough, Mercedes-Benz, Ocean Grundberg, only when I had enough, I could sit down and I was like, okay, now we can ask real questions, right?
mhm,
So we need to get to that level where we can, because divine feminine is service in the selflessness, right? I need to eat so much caviar and all of it that at some point I'm like, okay, now I'm done. Now I'm available. What is my selfless service? Direct me. I'm unbiased. I'm unattached. I'm fully curious. I'm in devotion and I'm in surrender. So, like, for anyone who is listening to this, stop associating wealth with, like shame or guilt for money, because that's where I see a lot of women get trapped. We
mhm.
are creating wealth to liberate ourselves and liberate the collective. We're not going to change government systems. We're not going to change medical systems. We're not going to change education system and what we tell our kids unless we're anchored in wealth.
Mhm. Yeah. I agree with that completely. And also, I feel like I want to add in, which has been such a really beautiful piece for me lately around like really knowing your wealth from within, like really honoring
Mm-hmm.
your gifts, really honoring just who you are. Because
Mm-hmm.
wealth, I mean, I know, that wealth outside of us is bullshit. Like it's
Yes.
meaningless.
Yeah.
It's like it's not going to be the thing. But wealth
Mm-hmm.
inside, and so many times I took for granted all of, my psychic gifts, my emotional maturity, the capacity
Mm-hmm.
that creator gave me, like the ability we have to commune with the divine, where
Mm-hmm.
some folks are not even capable in this life because
Mm-hmm.
of whatever karmas they have, or they're just, whatever it is, to even be able to sit in meditation. So like,
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
is wealth. Like start
Yes.
at the
Yes.
very, very roots of like, okay, this is what I've got. This is like, because once that shit goes away, you don't feel
Mm-hmm.
so wealthy anymore, right? When your
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
connection is gone, all of a sudden wealth is really gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like really that like, thank you to the divine, that devotion to the wealth that's within. And then yes, let's create shitloads of money so
Yes.
we can create all the beauty that we want from the inside
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And I want to anchor here something very important because you started touching on it, right? Like you didn't value your gifts, right? So like with this wealth and feminine, divine feminine wealth, we're in the highest expression also beauty. So it's really like I'm in so much joy, I'm in so much vibrancy, I'm in so much ecstasy. Oh my God, can it even get better?
Yeah.
And you get paid for that. So it's kind of that reality. It's reality of orgasmic bliss and ecstasy and potency, and then you're like, okay, what's my capacity for joy? Now you have new problems. What's my
Yeah.
capacity for joy? Right?
Yeah.
And pleasure. So it's kind of like I want to invite everyone, and that's a the transmission piece. It's like I'm in full alignment with my divine path. I'm enjoying serving every single day. I'm inspired to talk to my people. I feel so alive and I'm serving in this selfless devotion to the collective highest good. And I'm so provided for. I'm so provided and wealthy and supported and nurtured. And I just love co creating. I love giving. It feels like energy is flowing through me. And it's so much ecstasy. It's that kind of reality.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful reality.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful that we can choose it. And right, women
Mhm.
don't know until they know, right? Like
Yeah, you can now because
right, we don't know until we know, until there's like
Yeah.
that drop in and we're like, oh, it's like shimmy, and then you can sit back, right, and lean
Yes.
back into your inheritance, a bit
Yeah.
more. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
for those
Mhm.
of us, for those listening, it's like if you don't know it, what we're talking about, or haven't tasted it, it's accessible. It's like it's a consciousness that you're just not accessing, but you can, right? Like
Mhm.
it's always accessible. It's just when it's our time, when we're choosing, and are we choosing, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And yeah, if you are curious about this portal for yourself and specifically the divine feminine portal, start any connection with your womb.
Hmm.
Any connection, whatever feels aligned.
Yeah.
Even just 1 minute on the bus, in the train, just putting your hand on the womb and feeling into the energy of the womb, because this is our cosmic creation portal. This is our sorceress energy. This is how we weave in this universe through the womb, right? Through the portal. And just start slowly rebuilding relationship with her.
Hmm.
And when we build a relationship with womb, it's very important. And I want to anchor this piece. It's not judging your womb. Oh, I don't feel anything here. Oh my God, I don't feel, and everyone is so like orgasm and ecstatic. No, it's literally like, there's nothing, there's numbness. I just don't feel anything. And that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Totally okay.
Just
Totally okay.
curious, and at least setting the intention and making
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally, it's like unwrapping a gift package.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and then you'll slowly start observing and being able to pick up energy more and more. Right, today I feel a little bit bloated. Probably my cycle is coming. And today I feel a little bit excited. All right, and today I feel like there's so much heaviness, and it's gonna shift depending on where you're in your cycle, what's going on in your life, where are your hormones. So just kind of like observing, not from good, bad, right and wrong, but like curiosity and unbiased space of like, okay, right, what is connection? You were talking about presence earlier, right? It's unconditional presence.
Yes.
So if I had clients coming to me just like, I don't feel anything, I'm like, okay, not feeling anything is a feeling too, good, let's sit
Beautiful.
there, let's
Exactly.
sit there. Yeah.
Exactly. And did you grow up with a mom who like was connected or?
Both of my grandmothers are healers.
Mhm.
Like they would take people in their houses and do the healing work. My mom was very tapped in and very intuitive, but she went into more of the mother archetype rather than priestess archetype. But she's super tapped in. Yeah, and then the womb practice, now it emerged in my reality when I stepped into the tantra path. Even after so many years in Buddhism, nothing was mentioned about womb,
Mhm.
right? And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about teaching tantra.
Yeah.
A lot of priestesses, Magdalene, right, role, all of the dakinis and Shakti embodiment through the physical human women were removed, right, from history. And how did we align with Tantra being monastic path, right? Like how are we even painting this picture?
Mhm.
No, Yoni worship, womb worship, Shiva, Shakti. So we are kind of like recreating the role of the women in mapping the history.
Mhm.
So that's also a very important piece.
It is important,
Mm-hmm.
important bringing that whole psychological landscape of the true feminine back online. And that
Yeah.
looks so different for every woman, but
Mm-hmm.
be able to
Mm-hmm.
bring that in is so it's a
Mm-hmm.
lushness of
Yeah.
adornment. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so those are the templates. And you remember you were a huge piece of my Ecstatic Woman Summit that we did a year ago, right? And we're talking a year after, right? We've been texting and we've been, following each other and supporting each other. But you see how much shifted already,
Mhm.
right? It's like
So much
the
change.
sun was screaming and screaming and screaming,
Yeah.
and now the masculine is rising, and now we're dancing in this beautiful union where men are stepping into the integrity and leading from the heart and protecting and providing and all of it. And it's like it's such a gift to witness, right? The global collective shift, right? It's like, oh, yes, we are coming into that union, sacred union potency again.
It is. It's a really, really beautiful time and relentless in its pursuit to return
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
uh, to to the fragrance of unity, which I know that we want so much to experience here in
Yeah.
our lives and see more of it mirrored for sure.
Yeah, and that's how we're gonna create new Earth, and that's how we are creating new Earth in union.
Yeah.
Any opposition is a trap. Like this is how I see it, right? What is opposition? It's a left brain to right brain,
Yeah.
right? So when you can step out of the opposition and spending your energy in this kind of like dynamic, and you are asking yourself, what am I creating? How can I use polarity not to fight within polarity, but who is better, feminine and masculine, and like where am I unbalanced internally and where am I unbalanced externally, right? It's like, how can I use this for,
Mm.
right? Not against,
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
right?
It's
This
like
this is a
alpha
tool
and
for alchemy.
omega. Yeah.
Yeah.
The alpha and the omega together.
Yeah, for the collective higher good. Like why there's so much polarity and so much difference, right? The feminine and masculine. Because only in that contrast we can alchemize enough to create enough potency to penetrate physical reality, right? So that's the medicine of it. Like, okay, how can I use those to create a better world, to create a global change, to create highest alignment and different vibrational field for all of the humans.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about it.
I love it. It's great. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's magic. I feel like I want to full circle us and lean in
Yeah.
to just our shared passion of mentorship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why that is. So I'll just lean in a little for me, and then I want to hear what your two cents
Mm-hmm.
is about it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was because I felt like there was something I was missing. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see in my reality I didn't see demonstrated for me as a young woman, as a young mother. Like my mother was amazing and I love her. She's super tapped into. And I call her, I'm like, Ma, what do you think about this? And she's like, I haven't read it. I'm like, Mom, we know who you are. Just tell me, is it A or B? And she's like, okay, it's B.
I
Super
love it.
cute. But
Yeah.
you know, we when we know, like you and I we're born into with innumerous lifetimes of for us to bring here to incarnate fully in our present self. So we have a lot of wisdom that's already seated and rooted. So when you have that wisdom inside of you and the external reality isn't mirroring what you
Mm-hmm.
know is true inside of you, then you're like, that's when the opening is, and you're like, something's wrong here. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what's going on? So just honoring now the journey of wisdom of how the mother and the divine feminine operates through us, and once you open up the gift and you start to reveal more and more of her through you, right, and then
Mm-hmm.
open up
Mm-hmm.
more of your expression, it's like, how can you not want to share that with somebody
Mm-hmm.
else who doesn't know it exists? Like, it's like
Mm-hmm.
everything is hidden from us, and then all of a sudden, knowing what you know, you're like effulgent and full, and you know what
Mm-hmm.
life truly tastes like, to not want to share the mango with
Mm-hmm.
somebody, with
Mm-hmm.
another sister. So for me, mentorship is like, oh my God, if I had known about sacred sexuality, I
Mm-hmm.
I would have known not to use my body in a particular way, right? I would have not
Mm-hmm.
given myself away so much. I would have, there's so many things, and it's perfect what I did. But now, since we know, we can kind of
Mm-hmm.
interrupt the distortion
Mm-hmm.
and be like, here's,
Mm-hmm.
mama, here's the plate of fruit.
Yes.
Like, here you go dive right in and feed your hunger, and get
Mm-hmm.
nourished, and like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a pathway for you and it's inside. So that's kind of like my how it arises for me. I'm like, I want to tell everybody the fucking truth, and
Yes.
like and give it to them. So for you, like when you lean into the mentorship and like your love of women and how you want to serve them,
Mm-hmm.
what is like for you, you're like, I I want to give it to them.
For me, I'm very connected to the global impact. I think that's the biggest part that keeps me going with high speed and high risk, I would say.
Mm.
Right. And that's the path of mentorship, because basically you are evolving and amplifying your capacity and amplifying your magic so fast and so rapidly that you need to be held and you need to have that support so you can create that impact for yourself.
Mhm.
In the way I look at it, like this: we reincarnated in a special time, in a specific time. Okay, let's be honest. Me and you saw what happened in the last year. The collective is changing so rapidly and so fast. We don't have time
Mhm.
to sit and think about it and doubt about it
Mhm.
and feel into it. Like, we are called in this specific time, in this specific space, to stand and lead powerfully with our fire, with our hearts, without losing momentum, because the impact for the collective and what we are birthing right now is so enormous and huge that we don't have the luxury of
Mhm.
time. It's like, if you realize how huge your legacy, and I love the name of your podcast, if you are present to how much your legacy is, how would you make your decisions? Like, if I would tell you what your legacy is, right? If you would see what your legacy is in the quantum field, how would you make those decisions,
Mhm.
right? And that's where I was talking about saving time rather than thinking about resources. We don't have time. We have huge missions. Wake up, let's keep going. And it's fun, and it's ecstasy, and it's delicious, and like your job description is to dance and have powerful orgasms. It's like I'm
in.
very excited. Yes.
Super beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I think that fire is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not doing it for yourself. Like you incarnated in the space and time to create the collective change for the human being and the frequency and the flavor of reality fabric. Snap out of your smallness, connect to your vision, whatever resources you need right now, and just say yes to it.
Mm-hmm.
With Divine Feminine, we talked about initiation. You gotta say yes.
Oh, yeah. You have to say yes.
You have to say yes. She kind of is, sounding good. No. She doesn't take that bullshit for an answer. You're sitting down and you saying yes. I don't want to swear here.
Oh, you're
You
allowed.
say, you're fucking saying yes.
Space.
There's no way around it. It's that kind of initiation.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you're not initiated by a master, or you are sitting down and you're saying yes to the Divine Feminine, to yourself. Without yes, nothing will work. Nothing will work. Everything will be a struggle and another wall that you are hitting.
Yeah.
Right. So from the moment, if this lands, if you're like, holy shit, I'm so excited and I know it's about me and I've been feeling this reality and I've been tapping into this frequency and I know I came for great, huge things, I would say align with your yes, sacred yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then feel into what kind of support you need. Do you need a mentor? Do you need a container? Do you need a medicine guide? Do you need a wealth activator? Like then you can access that conversation of how, right? We can talk how before we said yes fully.
Mm-hmm.
And we aligned with that sacred divine yes.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
It is a gift.
Yes.
It's a huge gift. I mean, the fact that we even can run our own businesses, it's huge. You know,
Yes.
what we all come from, we all have different storylines, but to just be able to be here now and to even know that we can carve out our own realities, I mean, that in itself is like that we have the
Yes.
consciousness. It's powerful. Something I think
Yeah.
I often have taken for granted just because it's here and it's part of my life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's really fucking beautiful because not everybody is experiencing that.
Yeah.
And honoring what everybody's experiencing. I mean, everybody has a divine
Yes.
path, right? We took
Yeah.
ours to get here and it's not over. Who knows what it's going to look like for us.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you never know. That's the mystery.
I know. You never know. It is the mystery. It really
Yeah.
is. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. I really enjoyed this. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to anchor? So, yeah, I want to lean into one question for you. So, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your passion, as far as if you were to lean into like, what is the legacy that you want to leave for this embodiment? And when I say that, I mean, you are the legacy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your
Mm-hmm.
energy, your imprint, what you're giving to the world. Is there anything particular, like how you want to touch the lives of others in that legacy? Does anything come?
I feel like I'm just feeling the frequency of it, right? I usually refer it to liquid ecstasy frequency, right? Ecstatic living is possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's the deliciousness of living, deliciousness of being in alignment with your soul purpose, deliciousness of receiving abundance and wealth, deliciousness of being connected and supported by a beautiful community, all of it. So if I were to anchor one thing, yes, let's all wake the fuck up and let's make it ecstatic,
Yeah.
if we're and orgasmic, it's like, okay,
Why
if you can
not?
choose, why not, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the frequency. I want to transmit the frequency. It's like it's delicious. It's a delicious way of living.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, yummy is my favorite word. So
Yes, me too. Yes. If you know the mangoes, you would tell everyone the mangoes. I love that.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put your information below for anybody
Yeah.
to get in touch with you for sure. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming on and sharing your magic with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I don't know if I can share how I teach.
Sure, you can.
So I teach new moon temples and full moon temples every new moon and full moon on the exact date. So if anyone feels like they want to be in the alchemy of Tantra and ecstatic living and womb magic, we do a lot of, most of the work we do is a womb quantum alchemizing and activating ourselves. Yeah, just feel into it. It's a beautiful portal. And yeah, reach out. I would love, love, love to see where you are in your journey and see like what kind of medicine I need to sparkle and sprinkle in your world.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Put down the details so
Yes. Yeah.
information for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time and beautiful, beautiful space.
So
It was
much.
delicious, yummy, and
Good
I
to
love
see
dancing with
you.
you, and I love picking colors for you. And
Yes.
yes, I'm like, oh yes.
Good.
That's a feminine embodiment path, right? Before we got on this podcast. Okay, so like, how's my lipstick? Do I need a little bit more? Okay, so yeah, right. It can be that.
It can be. It can be
Yeah.
whatever we want it to be. That's for sure.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sure. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so
Yeah.
much.
Awesome.
And thank
Yes.
you to our listeners, and we will talk soon. Thank you, everybody.